this is perhaps going to be something that's going to be a debate for years and years and years and years. All right, let's get to sophomore of the year here. And this is perhaps going to be something that's going to be a debate for years and years and years and years. And every time I check in on it, Jaylen Williams makes it closer. Has he surpassed Paolo Banchero in terms of his performance this year?
To me, yes. I'm not saying Jaylen Williams will be a better pro for the remainder of his career than Paolo Banchero, and it is worth a significant amount of consideration that Paolo Banchero's role within his team's offense is not only significantly higher than Jaylen Williams, it's significantly higher than any other sophomore that we consider. So Jaden Ivey, Jaylen Williams, they're roughly in the 33-34% total usage range. Paolo Banchero is at 42%. That is an incredibly large workload. And you can make an argument that Paolo Banchero should not have that large of a workload. And I think that's fair. But first of all, the Magic needs someone to do it, and Banchero has done it reasonably well for them.
Particularly considering Franz missed a month.
Exactly. And Jaylen, so you have that. And that dings, you presume, generally speaking, there is a frontier with usage and true shooting. That work was done more with the traditional usage, but I believe it to be true with Seth as well. At some point, maybe somebody will do the digging. But Jaylen Williams, he's been really efficient overall, 63% true shooting, 45% from three. And you say, oh, well, he only takes about 4 threes per 36. So does Paolo Banchero. It's just that Jaylen Williams makes them at a ridiculous rate. He's been, I think that EPM overrates his defense quite a bit. I think that they're giving him credit for some of what is going well for OKC that he doesn't deserve.
But I don't know. He's starting to make more plays. He guards the best wing threat on the other team a lot of the time.
A fair portion.
Is guarding the best guard, then Williams is guarding the best wing. He's done a pretty good job there.
I would say he has the number 2 assignment a lot of the time, but that's still hard work.
Or the number 1 assignment when he's in and Dort is out, which is a fair amount of the time as well.
Yeah, and so for me, Jaylen Williams, it's fair to argue that Banchero was put in a tougher spot because he's being asked to do more. But to me, Jaylen Williams has been better than Paolo this year. But they are 1 and 2 for sure.
Yeah, this is just a question of what you value more at this point and how well you think everyone is in their role, right? I think if you put Jaylen Williams in Paolo Banchero's role, I think Paolo would do that better than Jaylen Williams. You put Paolo in Jaylen Williams' role, I think Jaylen Williams would probably do that better, particularly because of the way that he shoots the ball. And I think he's a better defender than Paolo, though Paolo, I think, is totally acceptable in that role. EPM thinks it's not even close. EPM thinks Jaylen Williams is plus 3.5. Paolo is plus 0.9. I could see Paolo being one of these guys that these impact metrics don't like for a long time. And Jaylen Williams, 63% true shooting. Paolo, 54% true shooting, which is 4 points below the league average. But the Magic, as we noted, the Magic offense is not that bad. And by having Paolo to soak up those possessions like that allows some of the other guys to be in the roles that they need to be in. So it's just a question of are you valuing floor raising on an offense that's not as good? Or are you valuing fitting in as a second or third option? If you look at the usage, like you talked about, Paolo, higher playmaking usage, much higher scoring usage. Jaylen Williams, like every OKC Thunder, never turns it over. Except maybe Josh Giddey. I haven't looked at his turnover usage per stats lately. So I ultimately went with Paolo. I will certainly revisit this. Jaylen Williams also has been coming on more lately, I would say, particularly. The 3-point shooting is absolutely insane lately. And some of these, you watch that ball go through the net when he shoots it, and it's this arc is perfect. I'm a believer, not to 46%, but I'm a believer in his shot. So this one's going to come down to the wire for me, but I did go Paolo right now. Keegan Murray was my number 3, replacing Jabari Smith Jr. I think Murray just started off really poorly shooting it from 3. He's back up to 37% now. He's been going well since the first month and a half or so. And I think, Jabari maybe is a little better than Keegan defensively. I think Keegan has more versatility to guard. You can put him on ones getting over a screen conventional pick and roll defense. I don't think that's something that Jabari does. He's in a switching scheme, but he does that well. But I think Keegan is the better offensive player. Ultimately went with him, but Jabari certainly no slouch this season.
I went with Keegan Murray as well, and it remains to be seen. This, next time will be the last time we talk about these guys in the context of their draft class. I mean, I guess we'll do redrafts at some point, but so there are, Jalen Duren is intriguing. I want to give congratulations, as you did to Jabari, for like kind of working his way in here when he, of course, was not in the.
I think it's actually been underrated how good of a season he's had, and there's been so many other storylines in Houston, Şengün, and is Jalen Green going to develop? And they got Van Vliet and Dylan Brooks in now. It's like he's sort of like the fifth most talked about guy on that team. Maybe even a men gets more discussion than him at times, but he just like comes out there, does his job, makes a decent number of shots, and like really defends across many positions. And he also was crazy young, even in his second year. I did want to say one other thing on the Paolo Jaylen Williams thing. Paolo, 5 more games, 300 more minutes, 3 more minutes per game than Jaylen Williams, if you wanted to have that be a slight tiebreaker for you.
I want to mention something small, and again, neither one of these is gospel, but there are 2 other players, I believe it's just 2, who we haven't mentioned yet, who are positive or neutral in both EPM and Raptor total number. And I'm not saying those are definitive or anything like that. One of them is Walker Kessler, and we've talked about him a lot in 1560s and everything else like that. Like his role within the Jazz rotation this year has been a little bit surprising. Actually, I think his Raptor number actually might be incomplete in the one I'm working with. So apologies, might be inaccurate. And then the other one, who has not played enough minutes to merit being a top 3, but Mark Williams. Mark Williams is he's positive 1.2 EPM, which is actually mostly on the offensive end, which is a little bit just because like he doesn't have to do a ton, but he does what he does well. And, positive in both offensive and defensive estimated Raptor. So I just wanted to mention that as like there are fewer rookies who are ever positive players, but I just wanted to throw that out there. And then another guy who's done well by those metrics is Vince Williams of the Memphis Grizzlies.
Yeah, who I don't think I even had it in my mind that he was a sophomore until Dan remembered to throw him on this list. But yeah, he's played well. He's got finding him is certainly a silver lining of this lost Memphis season.